Terra spun lazily outside our ship's window. I wanted to tell my fellow Jutsulki we were headed to Earth, but the female Earthling said she would separate my head from my shoulders if I even thought about doing such a thing.
Quick in and out. Repair the ship. Head to our next mission.
She looked over the control panel, then paused as a dull blip appeared on the scanner.
That's odd.
What is it? She studied the scanner closer, then peered out the window.
Rusty's beacon.
He's on Terra?
Get your stuff.
I rushed out of the room, grabbed my vest, and sprinted down to cargo bay. Out the window, I watched as our ship set down on Terra. Jutsulki clamored around as our engines slowly shut down. The female Earthling shouted as she hurried down the hall.
Don't open the door!
She ran to my side, slipped a long knife from her boot, and handed it to me.
Put it in your boot.
Do you think Rusty is here?
Likely.
And that worries you?
It concerns me.
I peeked through the window for any sign of our robotic friend, but all the wigs blocked my view.
We found another human!
A Jutsulki shouted through the window.
There is another!
The female Earthling punched the plunger and stomped down the cargo ramp onto the grass.
Show me.
We were led by a crowd of Jutsulki toward the Hall of Transmissions, where thousands of Jutsulki waited outside.
You have returned!
Welcome back.
Where's the human?
That way.
The crowd pointed us up the stairs toward the hall. The female Earthling checked her weapons. Who do you think it is?
Let's go find out.
We hustled up the stairs, pushed open the hall door, and headed inside.
Stay close.
At the far end of the hall, resting comfortably on a large couch, was a familiar smiling face. It was August, his head resting on a large pillow, as female Jutsulki fed him waterberries and tended to his shoulders.
You've got to be joking.
August motioned to us with a mouthful of berries.
Hey, yo, welcome to Terrak.
The female Earthling moved in closer, her gun aimed at his forehead.
Where's Rusty?
Who?
My robot.
Rustpot? How should I know?
The female Earthling scanned the room as she moved closer.
Why are you here, August?
My father had someone pick me up off that horrible floater. He bought me a new ship.
That doesn't answer my question.
I'm getting to it, Peaches.
August motioned to his mouth for the Jutsulki to feed him more berries.
Anyhow, after competing in the Zrakentry races and winning, I tracked Kilroy back to this planet. Except he wasn't here. So I decided to stick around and enjoy some culture.
The female Earthling stepped closer, causing all the female Jutsulki to scatter in fear.
Whoa, no reason to get crazy. There's enough August for everyone.
The female Earthling leaned in close and punched August sharply in the face, knocking him to the ground. August shook his head, then wiped his bloodied nose with his sleeve.
What was that about?
Where's Kilroy?
August picked himself up off the floor.
Beats me, but don't you worry. I'll find him. August Firetorn always gets his...
Suddenly, the hall rumbled. The ancient marble floor split between August's legs and splintered toward the back wall.
He's here.
I followed the female Earthling outside and watched as a distant building shook, then crumbled to the street below. The sky filled with plumes of ash and smoke as shrieks and screams rang out in all directions. The female Earthling raised her rifle scope to the air.
Where are you?
Smooth and dark as the night, Kilroy's ship pushed through the smoke and flames and drifted menacingly over the city like an earth shark hunting for prey. August shoved past me and the female Earthling, hustled down the stairs, and disappeared into the crowd below.
Rusty's on that ship.
She lowered her rifle, and we rushed down the stairs into the chaos of the streets. How will we get him?
I'm working on it.
August popped out from the crowd, out of breath and wide-eyed.
He blew up Googie!
What's a googie?
My ship! He blew it up!
August yanked his pistols from his holsters and aimed them into the sky at Kilroy's ship.
Get down here and fight fair, you rotten scrote-covered ding-dong.
Hey, moron. I have a better idea.
A high-pitched whirling sound filled the air as bolts of electricity and green fog swirled tightly around Kilroy's ship. The electricity swirled faster and faster, then discharged a fractured bolt of electricity into a nearby building, leveling it instantly. The female Earthling spoke into her wrist.
Rusty, can you hear me? Rusty, respond.
Maybe he isn't on the ship. Another bolt fired from Kilroy's ship, slamming into a distant building and removing it from the skyline. Jutsulki scattered in all directions, wigs littered the streets. My planet was being destroyed by a robotic cyborg maniac, and I was starting to believe it was all my fault. The female Earthling tried again.
Rusty.
I searched the chaotic crowd for any sign of our robotic friend, hoping he would appear. Then Rusty's voice crackled out over the female Earthling's wrist.
I am here, Master.
The female Earthling searched the sky.
Rusty, tell Kilroy to land. Tell him I surrender.
What? Are you crazy?
Yeah, get him down here. Nobody does that to my Googie and gets away with it.
Another bolt let loose from Kilroy's ship, eliminating Big Ben from the skyline. And as the massive ship recharged, I worried that nothing would be left of my home planet. Then the massive ship turned away from the city, crossed over the Kremlin building, and disappeared from view.
He's landing. Get everyone into the amphitheater. They'll be safer there.
I hustled into the street and waved at the crowd with all my might. To the amphitheater! Follow me! I ran up the stairs, shoved open the amphitheater doors, and guided thousands of scared and wounded Jutsulki inside. Hurry! You'll be safer inside! As the crowd hurried to safety inside the amphitheater, I tried to work my way through the chaos of the worried and injured masses, but it was no use. There were too many bodies, and I was forced to move to the side and wait for the crowd to thin out as precious time ticked away. Then he appeared. The beast, Kilroy. He stood in the street like a terrifying metallic statue. The beast raised his arm, then sliced through the tightly packed knee-high masses like a sharpened blade. Again, I tried to get down the stairs, but the crowd was too much for me. I had but one choice. I yanked the knife from my boot and prepared for a fight. Kilroy plowed up the stairs, all three of his eyes fixed on me. I swung at the beast, but Kilroy reached down and snapped my knife's blade off at the hilt. I froze, unsure what to do next. Then shots rang out. Kilroy turned from me. There was August, down on one knee, both pistols aimed at the metal beast.
You owe me a new ship, you big ball of Trumbull frap.
Sparks and fluid spouted from Kilroy's back. It seemed August did some damage, but not enough to stop the beast. Kilroy released a blast of electricity from his arm, nearly splitting August at the waist. August returned fire, missing, and nearly killing me in the process.
Thinking you should probably get out of the way, little fella.
Kilroy answered with another bolt of electric from his arm, this time deflected by a fallen sign. The bolt of energy scattered all around, knocking several Jutsulki to the ground and sending their wigs into the air.
Fine. I'm just gonna have to take your ship then.
August leaped to his feet and disappeared into the crowd. Kilroy turned toward me, paused, then took off after August. I followed in his wake, but his massive strides made it impossible to keep up, and eventually I became lost in the chaos. Jutsulki ran in all directions. Smoke and debris filled the streets. I looked for anything to climb and gain a better view. Then a hand spun me around. It was the female Earthling.
Where's Kilroy?
Chasing August.
Which way?
Down Elm Street. Did you find Rusty? Rusty's voice rang out from her wrist.
I am prepared, Master.
A huge explosion dropped the Kremlin building from the skyline. What's Rusty gonna do?
Steal his ship.
But That'll trap Kilroy here.
Exactly.
But we need to get him off the planet. He's destroying everything.
It's our only chance to finally get rid of him.
But at what cost? Several bloodied and beaten Jutsulki limped past, helping one another cross the street.
What have you brought to us? This is horrors! Horrors of Earth!
Crowds of wounded Jutsulki continued to filter into the amphitheater. One broke from the crowd and headed straight toward me. I panicked until I realized it was my longtime friend, Red. He jogged over, his wig clenched tightly in his hand.
Dean, why is this happening?
Stay calm, Red. We're working on it. Tears streamed down Red's cheeks.
You should have never returned. Look what you have brought back with you.
Red looked us both over, slid his wig onto his bald head, and scampered toward the amphitheater. My friend was heartbroken. He may have loved Earth and all its history and culture more than anyone I'd ever met. He yearned to visit Earth more than me. But now, his own world was being destroyed. Destroyed by his best friend and an Earthling, and what they had brought to this planet. Would you destroy Terra to save Earth? I asked the female Earthling. The female Earthling watched the wounded crowd scamper, limp, and crawl through the streets. I feared her need for protecting Earth had warped her mind, but I was wrong.
Rusty, Plan B. We're leaving.
Leaving?
He'll follow us.
But what about Rusty?
You want to save your planet, don't you?
We raced through the streets toward our ship. August sprinted past us, followed by a bolt of electricity. The bolt streaked across the street, curved over our heads, and slammed into the Hall of Transmissions, lifting the building clean off its foundation and sending debris high into the air. August dusted himself off best he could.
This guy is nuts.
Red glowing eyes sliced through the dusty air. It was Kilroy, his sharp frame drenched in blood.
I think maybe we should go.
He smacked me on the back and headed into our ship. I stood my ground and prepared for a fight, but the female Earthling stepped in front of me, her rifle firm in her hands.
Get on the ship.
I'm staying to fight with you.
Get on the ship, Dean. That's an order.
I reluctantly climbed aboard as the female Earthling fired a shot over Kilroy's head, striking one of the stone maple trees that lined the street. The tree exploded, sending an electric charge into Kilroy's mechanized frame. The female Earthling leaped onto the ship as Kilroy's body lit up like a light bulb.
Time to go.
Kilroy charged toward the ship, then smashed his head full force into the cargo window. The window fractured, but did not break.
He can't get in.
Kilroy locked eyes with me through the fractured window. I was quite sure my heart stopped for a moment or two.
Will he follow us?
Always.
Kilroy pounded the door with his metallic fists, denting it with each blow.
Hurry!
Our ship lifted off the surface and drifted over the city, exposing a horrifying view of the destruction below. Half of the city was gone, reduced to rubble. There was little hope that the Hall of Transmissions would ever decode another signal from Earth again. I sprinted to the cockpit, where the female Earthling studied a monitor on the wall. August paced nervously behind her.
We should have trapped him there.
And kill everyone on the planet at the same time?
He'll kill us, then come back and kill them all.
Will you two shut up? I'm trying to set a skip location.
Where?
The Metox system.
Sapphires and Ada? Are you out of your mind? Those planets have been fighting 1,000 Ico war for like 2,000 Ico.
Roughly 10,000 Earth years.
She said to me.
And it's been a stalemate for the past 2,000.
That's not what I heard. I heard Sapphires attacked one of Ada's surveillance probes and now they've been warring more than ever.
Even better. All the chaos will work in our favor.
Skipping smack in the middle of an all-out space war doesn't work in our favor. We'll be torn to shreds.
The ship rattled violently.
Seems Kilroy's getting impatient. Prepare to skip.
The ship shook, then lagged. Everything went bright white. Elephants and camels fought. And a new view of a new location appeared. That was fast. Fragments and debris tumbled through space as warships of all sizes battled outside our window. Fast-moving ships roared past, firing on large, lumbering behemoths that drifted slowly in the distance. Chaos reigned all around.
Told you they were back at it.
Tucked behind all the debris, weapons, and warships spun two small planets. Positioned uncomfortably close to one another, both planets showed deep scars from endless war. One of the planet's oceans leaked endlessly into space, freezing as it went along, while the other planet was dotted with fire and swirling clouds of smoke and ash.
He's here.
Kilroy's ship flashed onto the monitor. What now?
We land on Ada.
You're joking. Nobody lands on Ada. Crash, sure, but not land.
The female Earthling throttled the ship forward, weaving around warships, between weapon fire, and dipped under bulky debris, taking a few hits along the way. Kilroy's ship plowed straight through vessels 10 times its own size. Hundreds of creatures tumbled into space as his mighty ship dragged a trail of destruction in its wake. It was impressive and horrific at the same time. Nothing seemed to slow it down. He's gaining! He's going to ram right through us! The female Earthling shoved me toward the door.
Go get my journal.
I sprinted down the hall to her room, grabbed her journal, stopped at my room, grabbed my journal, then strapped both to my chest with a belt.
Rusty's not responding,
she said as I returned to the cockpit. The small planet drew closer. Burnt out hulls, smoldering wrecks, and fires peppered the landscape.
Maybe we should hit the brakes or something. Let him fly past us.
We need him behind us.
The cockpit window burnt red hot as our ship dragged through the planet's atmosphere.
This might hurt a bit.
I positioned myself behind August's chair as he struggled to buckle himself in. We passed through clouds, rain, then ash. The surface grew larger, filling our view. The female Earthling yanked back on the throttle, dragging the nose of the ship skyward, but Kilroy's ship slammed into our back end, shearing it off completely. Our ship tumbled through the sky, slammed into the ground, flipped violently, and finally came to a stop against the burnt-out frame of an old war vessel. The female Earthling dragged herself off the floor and inspected the ship's controls.
We walk from here.